Hi people, let's look into chapter 35, differences in economic development between countries. Alright, what is economic development? Economic development is a wider than economic growth. Besides improved living standards and also involve reducing poverty, expanding the range of economic and social choices, increasing the freedom and self-esteem. That is how we can define economic development. Standard of living, it's totally different. It's not, but it's a bit different when you're talking about living standards. Living standard, as we already discussed in the class, we are talking about living standards can be measured through your, GDP, or can be look into the real GDP per capita. All right, we can also measure through your human development index. That is how we are actually measuring the standard of living. But economic development, we are talking about the expanding about the overall performance of the country. All right, including on your decreasing in poverty, all right, increasing the freedom and self-esteem, political stability. That is also can be one of the factors of economic development. That's very important. All right, when we are talking about economic development, we always have to categorize between developing and developed. What do you mean by developing country, Ms. Pushpa? What do you mean by developed country? Developing country meaning, for example, we can take as Malaysia. Malaysia is a developing country. Developed country, we can talk about US. US is the control of the market. So they are the developed. Developed in sense of technology, they are developed in sense of exchange, they developed in sense of the, all the protocol rules and regulations. We are still developing. All right. So when you're talking about that particular, I just want you all to look into the causes of differences in economic development between countries. What causes? Why different countries have different development of the country? All right. And we are talking about development. Why Malaysia's development is totally different than when you're talking about Singapore? What causes that? All right. When you're talking about that, we are going to look into the differences in income per head. All right, we are going to look into the differences in saving due to different income per head as well, differences in investment, differences in population growth, differences in education and healthcare, differences in the size of the primary, secondary, and tertiary sector, differences in the concentration of a narrow range of exports, differences in productivity. These causes different countries having a different development. All right, so different incomes meaning different people will have a different income. Highly educated will have a different range of income. All right, those who are working in a productivity in a production line will have a different range of salary compared to the teachers, for example. Okay, so economic development tends to be lower in countries with low GDP per head. In such countries, some people may struggle to afford a good standard of living. So therefore, it does not mean that all people in such countries are poor. Sometimes it can be very rich as well. So different income per head will indicate a different development of the country. Second, we are talking about the difference in saving. All right. When you're earning high, the income is very high, you have a different mode of savings. At the same time, when we are in average income earning, all right, so that will be a different mode of the saving. So these are the causes of looking into the development. All right, meaning to say that what is development? Development meaning we are talking about the overall performance of the country. We are not going to narrow, or we're not going to specifically talk about the standard of living. We are not going to talk about the investment. It's the overall performance of the country that is called development. Differences in investment also, they say, that will be one of the factors that can be measured on your development. All right, countries with a low value of capital goods per worker will be likely to have low income per head. These are the population. These are the growth. All right, and the population growth also can be one of the indicators. Different countries having a different population rate. So different countries definitely will develop themselves in a different way. We cannot be expecting everyone can have the same growth. All right, so some countries will have a less people. The population is declining. Some countries may have overpopulated. So how are they going to look into the long-term development? That is the talking about the causes of the different economic development between the countries. And also education and healthcare will be one of the factors. And during this pandemic, I think most of us learn the importance of the healthcare, the technology improvement, advancement, and all that. Okay, the importance growing in the primary, secondary, and tertiary sector also can be one of the development. If you see, like many countries will start, buying materials, even the raw materials they will buy from the primary sector, will buy from other countries. This can be due to the lacking in the primary sector in their particular country. So that will be one of the development. Okay, so when we are talking about development, we are not only specifically talking about the development of one particular, or we cannot narrow down it into one particular, what we say, the factors. We have to look about the overall performance of the country. All right, so that is, we are talking on the development. So therefore, in next class, we'll be looking into what actually to achieve the economic development. All right, we can look into many factors. Why governments seek to achieve economic development? What will be the causes, the impact, the consequences, the advantages and disadvantages? We will look into very in depth in other classes. All right, thank you. Have a good day, everyone, guys.